Hi, welcome back to the Coin Studio. These 5 coins could change your life. A mais 82 quarter sold for $2,200. A 1966 quarter hit $21,000. A flawless 1971 quarter brought in $6,500. The rare 1967 quarter reached $9,000. And a stunning 1978 quarter sold for $5,800. And guess what? All of them look just like the ones in your pocket right now. Don't blink. Stay with me. Let's moving on. First up, the 1966 Washington quarter. America was in flux. The Vietnam War was escalating. The civil rights movement was reshaping the nation. And on the numismatic front, something significant was underway. Just 2 years earlier, the United States had made a groundbreaking decision to remove silver from most of its circulating coins. The 1965 Coinage Act ushered in a new era of clad coinage, replacing the beloved 90% silver quarters with coins made from a copper core and cupro-nickel outer layers. The 1966 quarter was one of the earliest products of this monumental shift. Struck at the height of the U.S. Mint's efforts to recover from a severe coin shortage, these quarters were minted in staggering quantities, over 821 million pieces. That's right, this coin was never struck with a mint mark, regardless of where it was produced, and each was meant for circulation, not for the collector's shelf. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the massive mintage, few 1966 quarters survived in pristine condition. Remember, these coins were workhorses. They were struck quickly, handled roughly, and circulated widely. High-grade examples with full details, brilliant luster, and perfect surfaces are exceedingly rare. Enter the world of professional grading. For a coin like this, the smallest details can make all the difference. A 1966 quarter graded. MS68 by PCGS or NGC is virtually the pinnacle of perfection. It means the coin has no visible marks to the naked eye, features a full strike, and retains its original mint brilliance. And because the U.S. Mint did not produce uncirculated sets for public sale in 1966, finding such coins in high grade is like locating a needle in a haystack. Collectors aware of this scarcity began to hunt. And in 2023, one such coin, a 1966 quarter dollar in MS68 condition, graded by PCGS, was offered at auction. This wasn't just another high-grade coin. It was one of only a few known to exist in this elite condition. The bidding was fierce, with seasoned collectors and dealers recognizing the rarity and historical importance of the piece. The final hammer price? An astonishing $21,000. That's right, $21,000 for a 25-cent piece. Not a silver coin, not an error coin, not a rare date, just a regular clad 1966 quarter dollar in nearly perfect condition. Now you might be asking, how is that even possible? It all comes down to condition rarity. While the 1966 quarter is common in circulated condition, coins at the very top of the grading scale are extremely difficult to come by. The Mint's quality control in the mid-1960s wasn't focused on perfection. Planchets often had imperfections, and coins were bagged and shipped without much care. Over time, these coins were subject to circulation damage, making Mint State 68 specimens almost mythical. What's even more fascinating is that some collectors are now hunting for these gems in original bank-wrapped rolls, hoping to strike gold, literally, from a box of pocket change. Stories abound of lucky individuals who submitted a coin from a forgotten roll only to find out it graded among the best known. So the next time you come across a 1966 quarter, don't just toss it aside. Examine it closely. Look for strong details in Washington's hair, clean fields free of marks, and lustrous original surfaces. If it's exceptionally well preserved, it might just be worth sending off for professional grading. And who knows, you might be holding the next $21,000 quarter in your hand. That's the power of numismatics. It's not just about old coins. It's about history, rarity, condition, and the thrill of discovery. The 1966 quarter dollar proves that even a modern-looking coin from your pocket change can hold extraordinary value under the right circumstances. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter begins during one of the most turbulent yet transformative periods in American history. The United States Mint was under enormous pressure. The silver crisis of the early 1960s had changed everything. By 1965, the U.S. had officially stopped minting quarters using 90% silver, transitioning instead to the now familiar clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of cupro-nickel. This was no small change. It marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, where modern technology, inflation, and economics redefined what our coins were made of and how they would be treated. In 1967, there were no mint marks on any coins. Why? Because the U.S. Mint had temporarily removed mint marks from all coins between 1965 and 1967 in an effort to discourage coin hoarding. There were no special collector sets, no proofs available to the public. Every 1967 quarter that exists was struck for circulation, meaning it was born to be spent, used, passed around, not saved in pristine condition. That's why today, high-grade examples of the 1967 quarter are extremely rare. Most of them have scratches, contact marks, or wear from circulation. But a small handful, incredibly few, managed to escape all that. They were either struck from fresh dies, under optimal conditions, or preserved carefully in their original mint state. These are the quarters that fetch top dollar at auction. Now let's talk about one of the most extraordinary examples ever seen. A Milovice Sachet, quarter-graded MS68 by PCGS, a coin with near-flawless surfaces, booming luster and razor-sharp details. A coin so pristine it stands out among millions. This isn't just about survival. This is about perfection, condition rarity, and collector demand converging at a single point. In a major auction, this stunning specimen caught the eye of elite collectors. The bidding war that followed was nothing short of intense. When the dust settled, the coin sold for an incredible $9,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin from the very year of the Summer of Love. During the Vietnam War, in a time of massive cultural change, sold for nearly $9,000. That kind of result doesn't happen every day. It requires a coin that is beyond exceptional. The factors that led to such a high price: rarity at the highest grade, exceptional eye appeal, perfect strike, low population in top condition, and of course, increasing demand from a new generation of collectors who are now discovering that even-clad coins, the same kind we see every day, can become treasures under the right circumstances. Let's not forget, the 1967 quarter isn't made of silver. It doesn't have a rare variety. It's not an era coin. What makes it valuable is condition, and the story behind that condition. In the rush of the late 1960s, with no collector sets and heavy mint output, the U.S. Mint was focused on quantity, not quality. That's what makes high-end survivors so spectacular. And here's something every collector should know. If you ever come across a 1967 quarter with strong luster, minimal marks, and a sharp strike, don't spend it. Put it aside. Have it examined by a grading service. Because even though it might look like just another coin, you could be holding the next five-figure superstar. There are also rare errors associated with 1967 quarters. For example, some off-center strikes, double strikes, or transitional planche errors have surfaced, and these too can bring serious money, often in the hundreds or even thousands, depending on the severity and uniqueness. So what's the takeaway? Never underestimate what's in your pocket. That everyday change could include a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The 1967 quarter proves that value isn't always about age or metal content. It's about rarity, condition, and the eye of the collector. Next up, the 1971 Washington quarter was struck using the same clad composition introduced back in 1965, a core of pure copper surrounded by an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel. The days of silver quarters were long gone, and the mint had fully transitioned to this new copper-nickel alloy, which was more economical and durable for circulation. This coin came from three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins bear no mint mark, while Denver coins carry the D, and San Francisco focused mostly on proofs for collectors, with the S mint mark. Now the mintage totals, absolutely massive. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 109 million quarters. Denver, more than 258 million. Add in over 3 million proof coins from San Francisco, and you've got a total of more than 370 million quarters just for this year alone. With so many made, it's easy to think the 1971 quarter is common, unremarkable, a coin destined for the bottom of a cash register, draw or lost forever in a parking lot. But here's the twist. Despite those massive production numbers, high-grade examples of the 1971 quarter, especially in MS67 or higher, are incredibly rare. Why? Because the quality control during the early 1970s was not designed to favor collectors. These coins were struck quickly, handled roughly, and intended for immediate circulation. Most of the 1971 quarters you'll find today are scratched, dull, and worn down from years of heavy use. Even in uncirculated rolls, contact marks, weak strikes, and planche imperfections are common. That's why when a truly pristine example surfaces, collectors take notice. One such coin, a 1971 D, quarter-graded MS-68 by PCGS, shattered expectations when it was auctioned off in recent years. Just one look at it revealed why it was special. The surfaces were nearly flawless. The fields were mirror-like. The luster danced under the light. It had the bold strike and visual appeal that collectors dream of. And the final hammer price? A jaw-dropping $6,500. Think about that. Over $4,500 for a coin that most people overlook entirely. What made this specific coin so valuable? It wasn't an error. It wasn't struck on a silver planche. It wasn't a double die. It was simply in a condition that is nearly impossible to find. That level of perfection, on a coin struck for the masses, during an era of mass production and minimal quality control, is something few people truly appreciate. And when it does appear, collectors are willing to pay big to own it. Of course, there's more to the story than just high grades. There are also era varieties of the 1971 quarter that carry significant premiums. Some coins have been found with off-center strikes, clipped planches, or struck on nickel or penny planches. These mint errors can range in value, from $100 to well over $1,000, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the mistake. Collectors are also always on the lookout for strong strikes with full details and especially full rims. Detailed hairlines on Washington, and crisp reverse feathers on the eagle. A sharp strike combined with luster and clean surfaces can elevate even a lower-grade uncirculated coin to something worth grading. It's important to understand that the world of numismatics has evolved. Coins from the 1970s are no longer viewed as too modern to be valuable. As more collectors are priced out of the classic silver and gold coin markets, they are turning their attention to the coins they grew up with. The quarters, dimes, nickels, and cents of the late 20th century. And among these, the 1971 quarter has emerged as a quiet sleeper hit. So what does this mean for you? It means you should pay attention. That 1971 quarter in your pocket or in a forgotten coin jar might be more than pocket change. Look for brilliant luster. Look for sharp details. Look for coins free of nicks and scratches. And if you think you found something special, consider submitting it to a grading service. Because you just might be holding a $6,500 coin in your hand. These stories remind us that numismatics isn't always about the rarest date or the oldest mint mark. Sometimes it's about perfection. It's about finding beauty in what others overlook. And it's about how a simple coin, meant for everyday use, can become a stunning piece of history when preserved with care. Next up, the 1978 quarter was struck in the typical post-1965 clad composition, a core of copper, with an outer layer of copper nickel. No silver here, no gold, no precious metals, just the same modern alloy we see in quarters today. But despite its everyday materials, the 1978 quarter is far from worthless. It was struck at two major mints for general circulation, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with the D mint mark. Over $521 million were struck in Philadelphia and more than $287 million in Denver. Add to that about $3.1 million proof coins struck at the San Francisco mint for collectors, and the total comes to more than 800 million quarters minted. In 1978, that's nearly 1 billion coins. So how can something so common become valuable? The answer, once again, lies in condition, specifically in what collectors call condition rarity. You see, although hundreds of millions were struck, only a tiny handful have survived in MS-67 or MS-68 condition grades, given by top-tier services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, to coins that are nearly flawless. Most 1978 quarters were struck for circulation, meaning they were handled, bagged, shipped, and used for decades. Even many uncirculated coins found in bankrolls or mint sets will show contact marks, dull luster, or weak strikes. And for coins from this era, the mint wasn't particularly focused on achieving pristine strikes, especially not for coins meant to be spent. That's what makes high-grade examples so rare. And that rarity came into full view when a single 1978 D, Washington quarter, graded MS-68 by PCGS, crossed the auction block. This was not just another shiny coin, it was a top-of-the-line example. Virtually perfect surfaces, radiant mint luster, crisp bold strike, and most importantly, an elite grade that only a microscopic fraction of coins from that year have ever achieved. The final price, an astonishing $5,800. Yes, that's right. A coin with a face value of 25 cents, one you could easily dismiss as pocket change, sold for more than $2,000. And it wasn't an error. It wasn't struck on a rare plancher. It wasn't even silver. It was valuable because of one thing, perfection. Now let's talk about proof coins for a moment. The San Francisco Mint struck 958S proof, quarters for inclusion in special collector sets. These coins were struck multiple times on polished dies to bring out mirror-like fields and frosted devices. While not worth thousands, a flawless PR70 DCAM, proof 70 deep cameo example can still command $750, $1,500, especially if certified by PCGS or NGC. There are also occasional errors and varieties found among 1978 quarters. Some collectors have reported off-center strikes, clipped planchers, and double strikes from this year, which can bring values anywhere from $1,000 to $1,800, depending on the clarity and severity of the error. So how do you know if your 1978 quarter could be valuable? Start by looking at the surfaces. Are they free of scratches, dings, or spots? Does the coin have full mint luster, almost like it just rolled off the press? Hold it under a light and examine the details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Weak strikes or flat detail lower the value, but a strong strike, beautiful surfaces, and stunning eye appeal, that's when it's time to consider grading. If your coin is truly spectacular, you might want to send it to PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. Coins that come back graded MS67 or higher are the ones that reach those high auction values. Even MS66 examples can sell for $400 to $1,000, depending on demand and market trends. You may be wondering why collectors would pay so much for modern coins like this. The truth is, collectors are now turning their attention to the coins of their childhood. The coins they remember using in the 1970s and 1980s. They want the best of the best, and with fewer pristine examples surviving each year, the demand for top-grade modern coins has skyrocketed. The 1978 Washington quarter is proof that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary value. It's not just about what the coin is made of. It's about how rare it is in top condition, and how few people recognized its hidden worth until it was too late. So the next time you're holding a 1978 quarter, whether it's in your pocket, your coin jar, or tucked away in an old drawer, pause for a moment. Look closer, because if it's in flawless condition, you might just be looking at a coin worth over $5,800. Next up, the 1982p Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it's just another coin from the early 1980s, clad in copper and nickel, carrying George Washington's iconic portrait on the obverse, and the majestic eagle on the reverse. No silver, no commemorative design, no flashy features. But what if I told you that this specific coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint in a year full of economic strain and government cutbacks, once sold for over $10,000 at auction? Yes, a single 25-cent coin, bearing no mint mark, turned into a four-figure prize. The question is how, and more importantly, could you have one too? To answer that, we have to rewind to 1982, a critical year for U.S. coin production. The country was in a recession. Inflation was high. Budget cuts were everywhere, and the U.S. Mint was not immune. In a drastic move, the Mint decided not to issue uncirculated mint sets for collectors that year, a decision that had deep and lasting implications for coin preservation. Why does that matter? Because uncirculated mint sets are where many of the finest examples of coins from any given year come from. In 1982, the only quarters that survived were those struck for daily circulation. That means they were rushed through production, struck with aging dies, and handled roughly in bulk bags, destined for cash registers, vending machines, and decades of pocketware. No special treatment, no protective packaging, no collector's polish, just pure circulation brutality. This is why the 1982p quarter is such a numismatic enigma. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 500 million of them. So yes, they are common, extremely common, in worn or average condition. But finding one in MS67, MS68, or higher? That's like finding a needle in a haystack. The vast majority of 1982 P quarters have contact marks, dull or hazy luster and weak strikes. Philadelphia, in particular, was notorious in this era for producing coins with subpar strike quality. The dies were used past their prime, and quality control wasn't geared toward collectors. It was all about quantity, millions of coins per day moving fast and cheap. And yet one particular coin defied the odds. It was a 1982 P quarter dollar, graded MS-68 by PCGS. That's near the absolute pinnacle of perfection for any coin, intended for circulation. This coin had virtually flawless surfaces, a razor-sharp strike and stunning original luster. It was the kind of coin you almost never see from this year, let alone from the Philadelphia Mint. And it wasn't just beautiful. It was the finest known at the time of its auction. When this quarter appeared at auction, experienced collectors immediately took notice. The bidding was intense, and when the final gavel struck, the coin sold for an astonishing $2,200. Think about that, a 25-cent coin, meant to be spent on a cup of coffee or a parking meter, ended up selling for more than $10,000. Not because of a mint error, not because it was silver or rare by mintage, but simply because of its unbelievable condition. It's a lesson in what collectors call condition rarity. The 1982 quarter is only rare when found in the highest grades. Most people will never even see one that could grade MS-67 or higher. That's why coins like this command premium prices. In fact, even MS-67 examples regularly sell for $300 to $500, depending on eye appeal. A sharp, lustrous MS-67 Plus could bring even more. Now you might be wondering, what should I look for in my change? Start with the basics. Flip over that 1982 quarter. Does it have a mint mark? If it doesn't, it's from Philadelphia. Now check the surfaces. Is the coin fully lustrous? Are there any visible scratches, bag marks, or signs of circulation? Most won't pass the test, but if yours looks pristine, if it glows under the light and shows crisp detail, in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, it might be worth getting graded. Another clue? The strike. 1982 P quarters are known for weak strikes, so if you see one with full detail, especially on the eagle's wings and claws, that's a major plus. Combine that with a clean surface and booming luster, and you just might be looking at something extraordinary. And don't forget, there are also rare error varieties for the 1982 P quarter. Some have been found with off-center strikes, partial collars, or double strikes. While none of these errors are as valuable as the top-graded specimens, they can still bring $100 to $500 depending on severity and market demand. At the end of the day, the 1982 P quarter teaches us a powerful truth about coin collecting. Sometimes it's not about age or rarity of mintage, it's about quality. A coin that survives decades of neglect in nearly perfect condition becomes a modern-day miracle. And those miracles are worth big money. So go check your change jar. Dig through your old coin rolls. That plain-looking 1982 P quarter, sitting in the corner of your drawer, if it's uncirculated, gleaming, and nearly flawless, it might be the next $10,000 discovery. If this story amazed you, make sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more tales from the hidden world of rare coins and modern-day treasures. And as always, keep checking your change, because you never know what kind of fortune might be hiding in your pocket.